Should you treat for mites? Should you not treat for mites? Should I start with 1 hive? Should I start with 2 hives? Is 5G killing my bees? Are you struggling with all of the information out there in beekeeping? I mean, like you've heard the phrase, if you ask 10 beekeepers one question, you'll get 11 different answers. The bad thing is, maybe all those 11 answers are correct. Before we jump into this today, let me tell you that March the 1st starts a week-long giveaway. We're going to be giving things away like smokers, robber screens, feeders, maybe even a class. I'm not sure. But all you have to do is look at this link right here. Go to our Facebook page, leave a comment, and you could be eligible for a whole week starting March the 1st for the super giveaway. Hey guys, David Burns, EAS Master Beekeeper. Glad to be back with you again. I'm back home from my trip out west to the state of Nevada and had a great conference there and speaking at the Nevada State Beekeepers Conference. Fabulous. I'm going to have more to tell you about that conference in this coming week, and I'm going to be sharing some interviews that I had with great speakers out there. Fun time all the way around. But today I want to talk to you about this thing about you're either, on this side or that side when it comes to beekeeping, or maybe you're somebody that's new and you've not really chosen a side to be on yet. Which side are you going to be on? You really don't want to take sides. In fact, I think that's the best approach. Don't choose a side. Be yourself. You don't have to follow the status quo. You don't have to be a part of the herd mentality. Now, we can gain a lot from science. We can gain a lot from experienced beekeepers, but we don't want to give up our own ability to have critical thinking and how things work for us. Let me give you one example. Let's say that you have a mite issue. You do a mite count, whether it's powdered sugar, whether it's an alcohol wash or a Dawn soap wash. That can be divisive. But let's say you do a mite count and you see that you have mites, you need to do something about it, and you try integrated pest management, known as IPM. That integrated pest management that you're applying first, it might be something like green drone comb. That really works well. I'll leave a link in the description for more information about that. You might be somebody that uses a powdered sugar dusting to help the mites kind of fall off of your bees. That works a little bit too. And you might be somebody that wants to break the queen's brood cycle, maybe in the late summer or early fall to reduce mites in your hive. That works too. Now, you might do all of those and not be able to keep your mites under control, so you might have to go to more of the treatment methods. Now, that's really confusing today, isn't it? I mean, should you use salicylic acid? A lot of people buy expensive vaporizers and start using OA is what the initials are. Maybe you're thinking, wait a minute, somebody said Formic Pro kills below the caps, OA doesn't. Well, that's true. And then somebody says ApiGuard works better, Life works better. And you just keep getting all these different ideas about how do I get rid of my mites? Let me tell you, here's the catch. One of these may work perfectly for one beekeeper, and that might be because of their population of bees, their climate at the moment, the way the hive is configured, the airflow in the hive, their temperatures. There's a lot of variables that comes into play. And so one beekeeper may apply a certain treatment the same way the other beekeeper did, but because of all of these different variables, one treatment might be a lot less effective than the other guy. So that's the problem that we're up against today. I know we want a simple recipe. Hey, David, I don't want to wade through all these things. Just tell me what to do. Which one do I use? Which pill do I take? Just tell me. You can't, because we don't know your specific climate, your specific population of your hive. We don't know your configuration. Is it 8 frame, 10 frame? Is it a flow hive? Is it a top bar hive? It's just too many variables. I have always been one that tries to get you to be a critical thinker. I want you to be somebody that understands and grows as a personal beekeeper in your skills and in your knowledge. I don't want you just to, blindly follow me. I want you to be educated. I'm always inspiring you to be a citizen scientist. That one video that I made where we made that noise on that single observation hive. As soon as I stopped, they resumed their activity. A lot of you were fascinated by that, and you went to work. I encouraged you to be my helpers, my citizen scientists, that as colleagues together in this, we might experiment, figure things out. I'm not just wanting you to take my word for it. I don't want you just to say, David said this, so therefore I believe that. Always challenge, always be a critical thinker, and be somebody that can know yourself why you are doing things. You really need to get to that place. I know it's so easy to be, things are black and white, right? And it's easier when things are black and white, but sometimes there are gray areas. I mean, it's personally up to you to choose the right thing to do based on your budget, your environment, your temperatures, the types of bees that you're using, how well your specific bees respond to the treatment at that given moment in time. I get asked this question a lot. Are you ready? I don't want to test for mites. I'm going to treat anyway. Why bother testing? Here's the biggest reason why we have to test for mites. You never know if what you're using to treat for mites is working. Seriously. Sometimes I've used certain types of treatments that have always worked, and when I use them, sometimes they don't work. When I test after I use them, the mite levels never dropped. Wow, if I hadn't have tested before and after the treatment, I would have never known that it did not work. Why didn't it work? I don't know. Maybe it was a bad batch. Maybe it was the climate, the weather, the winds, the vapors didn't get around good. Maybe my bees were too whatever. It just didn't happen, right? But by testing, first I knew I needed to treat. Secondly, when I treated sometime after that, I realized ineffective. So I had to use something else and try to knock those mite levels down. So if you're not testing at all, you never know if you need to. You never know if the treatment worked or not. Now, is 5G hurting bees? Again, you can draw a line right down the middle, right? And we have a tendency when we take these positions like this to say, if this person doesn't believe that 5G is killing our bees and ourselves, then I am going to weaponize them. I don't like them. I'm against them. And it's just the other side is 5G doesn't hurt anybody. Anybody that thinks it does is stupid. They're not even critical thinkers. They don't know. It's just a sharp line. We have a division. We all need to be open-minded. How many times have you taken a strong position only to find out later that, oops, I thought wrong about that? So, some of these things we have to understand that we always don't know unequivocally what is happening. We don't know for sure. There hasn't been enough studies done yet. So I'm not taking a hard position on 5G. I'm a ham amateur radio operator. I know a lot about all of these different types of transmissions and how they affect things. When we take our tests with the federal government, the FCC tests that we have to take, we have to know all of these things about the dangers and repercussions of our antenna and the things that we transmit out. We have to understand all of that. We have to be tested on that. So, I just want to encourage all of us to be open-minded and let critical thinking be the answer to whether or not these things and how they might be affecting our bees are not affecting our bees. Don't just jump to a side without knowing for sure or having some good scientific study to lead the way. Now, should you start with 1 hive or 2 hives? Simple answer to that. The biggest answer, the biggest driving force, I believe, is budget. It costs a lot to start beekeeping. You're going to buy a hive, you're going to buy the bees, you're going to buy the equipment, you're going to buy, if you treat, you're going to have to buy treatments to keep mite levels low. You're going to have to, if you're lucky enough to have a lot of honey, you're going to have to get some bottles, you're going to have to purchase labels to even bottle up your honey. So there's money involved in beekeeping. It is a hobby, but it can be an expensive hobby. Don't let anybody tell you that it's not. Beekeeping in general is going to come down to your budget, whether you should start 1 hive or 2 hives. If budget allows, 2 hives is always better than 1. And here's why. You start with 2 hives. If you lose one, you have 1 left. You're still a beekeeper. If you start with 1 hive, and let's say you install them and they abscond, they all fly away at one time, they're a wild animal, they can do that, and they do at times, then if you have 1 and they leave, you're not a beekeeper anymore. You paid a lot for a class, you paid a lot for your equipment. And by that time, there's no more packages or nukes to be sold because it's the time of year when everybody, they're sold out. And so now you have to wait till next year. So I feel like two, and I heard a phrase once that went like this: two is one and one is none. And so that's just that's the way I do the math for myself. People ask me, how many hives do I need to start with? The answer to that is, if you can afford it, then two is better than one. So just like my thumbnail suggests, I really think we need to be careful about just following a bandwagon just because, and like I'll speak for myself, sometimes I'm a little bit lazy. Maybe I don't want to do the research. Just tell me what to do. But we don't always realize that the person that we're following, they may be following somebody else that was lazy and didn't want to do the research, and they're following somebody else that was lazy. You know how that goes. And so it's time for us to sort of level up our experience in beekeeping and realize we really need to know why we're doing what we're doing. The information is out there, it's available, but it's so much easier to take somebody else's side, somebody else's opinion, and go that way. For those of you that are hating on people that are different than you in beekeeping, I want to encourage you to be a little bit more open-minded, because some of the greatest discoveries have been really challenged when they first came out. Reverend Langstroth, that came out with this hive right here that most beekeepers use today in the 1800s, was criticized greatly because it was such a dumb, stupid idea. A lot of people were angry at him for such a thing. And yet all of us now go that way. Do you see what I'm getting at? Don't just, put your heels so much in the ground that you're not budging. Don't become so stubborn in your ways that nothing can be better. You're going to learn a lot more and have a lot more success when you're more open-minded and you're willing to try and experiment on your own and see what really does work. Well, how do you go about gaining more critical thinking and more of your own personal growth in beekeeping? One of the ways is by taking one of my classes. My best and favorite class that everybody seems to love so much is my Ultimate Beekeeping Course that includes 7 courses. Check it out here. There's the link, or you can look in the description below and get a hold of this class. It will help you so much be a better beekeeper, make fewer mistakes, and keep healthier bees. And Sherry and I wrote a book on backyard beekeeping. Check it out, buy it from us on our website, and we'll autograph you a copy, get it right out to you. Please subscribe. Bobblehead David says, would you please subscribe? He's saying yes today. So click on the subscribe button. Look, give me a thumbs up. If you click on the thumbs up button, it helps my videos get pushed around on YouTube to more beekeepers looking for good information. Thanks, guys. I really do appreciate it.